Welcome to Hate the Heat podcast. My name is Robert Gonzales. My guest today, my son Jesse. We're at his work. We're at the Crow. We're at the patio. It's a little loud. You might hear cars driving by. It's all good, it's a little bit loud. We're still trying to find spots right now where we can film. But I want to talk about my son and just share with you guys about why I live here and what I did for my son. When I was young, I was about 19. I was living in Vegas. I was working as a armed guard in the nightclubs, and I was living in this apartment complex. And it was daytime, and my brother was outside smoking a cigarette downstairs. And I went down to go talk to him, and there were some young kids down there. And my brother's like, I think one of those kids have a gun. And I was like, what? No, they don't. And I looked, and sure enough, one kid had a gun. He's like putting bullets in it. So we go inside. I'm like, what the heck? So I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, there's some kids outside with a gun. She's like, call the cops. I'm like, we're not calling the cops, because where we come from, you never call the cops. You don't do that kind of stuff. That's just the code. And so called the cops. I'm already getting older, having a family now. I'm like, whatever. So I call the cops, tell them where I live. So there's a kid outside, had a gun. Cops never came to our neighborhood. A couple hours went by, it got dark. And my brother was going to go to the corner store by our house. And he goes down the stairs. It's nighttime. And the door was still open. And I was like in my bedroom. And I could hear him running back up the stairs saying, they got a gun, they got a gun. And he runs in my house. And my son that just you're going to meet and just spoke was 3 years old at the time. And they started shooting in my house at my brother. And my brother has my son. And they're shooting in my home. And thank God that they didn't hit them. The cops finally showed up after that shooting. They caught the kids running down the street. My son was having nightmares, and my dad had just moved to Arizona, Cottonwood, 1999, 2000, and started freaking us out because at that time, the gangs from California were moving into the gang areas of Las Vegas where they were poor and they were overtaken. And those kids that shot at us were from California. And I had enough, because now we're not fighting against gangs from LA no more. Now we're fighting against gangs from California and LA, and it was just too much. So my dad moved to Arizona. I brought my wife out here to visit, and some told me, like, that's where you got to go. You're going to go there, and this is where you're going to live, and you're not going to die. And I came out here, and I told my wife, I want to move here. She was like, what? No. And I was like, yeah, we're going to move here. She's like, nah, we're not moving there, because she liked Vegas. And so went back home and told her we're moving there. We got our income tax check, packed up, told the family bye, and we moved here and raised my son here and broke the cycle. Broke the cycle with my family, broke the cycle, and he don't have to have no life of that gangs and none of that stuff. He doesn't know nothing about that. He grew up in my house. We sheltered him, give him video games and stuff like that. He started getting out of shape, started not paying attention. I believe the foods and all that stuff started messing with his head. Then we started getting him into the gym and just changed his life. But I just want to share that with you guys on, the reason why I came to this community and why I'm here is for this reason. For my son speaking today, it's really cool to hear what he has to say. It just trips me out even still today to know that that's my son, and I'm really happy that he's mine. So thank you guys. All right, how you doing? My name is Robert Gonzales. I'm with the Hate the Heat podcast. My son.
I'm Jesse.
How you doing? So I just want to bring him in today, talk to him a little bit about when he was young. Talk about his life, about what the gym has done for him. When you were younger, you were in school, and one day they called mom and they were like, hey, we need to have a meeting. And they brought her in, I guess they sat you guys down. I wasn't there. I was at work.
It was like a
And
little jail cell.
yeah, and they said that you had to be on medication, and so mom brought you home. Told me we got you into the boxing. I took you in there. What was going on that time of your life, though? You know, right before you got into the boxing.
Doing horrible in school, was, acting up. So I mean, I guess I can kind of understand where they would get the, oh, he has ADHD, doesn't pay attention, and he's always goofing around, always messing around, and so I understand why. I guess they said like, oh, hey, we need to put him on some medication. And being in that gym the first time was horrifying, for sure. Seeing everybody hit these bags, and you got 3 or 4 bags, everybody's hitting them. You got people punching each other in the back, and it was intimidating. It was scary for me. Didn't know what I was about to get into, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be a part of it, but obviously in the long run, I'm glad that nothing changed, and I'm glad that you threw me into it, if you will. And but definitely scary. Definitely scary. Within 3 months of being there, I've lost weight. When I started, I was definitely overweight as a kid, and fell in love with it. Never couldn't get enough. 6 months later in the program, I'm getting straight A's. I'm doing phenomenal. I'm progressing in a sport that I would never think being in, at least not 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, when you were young, when you first got into it, yeah, you didn't like it and stuff like that. I got you into the boxing part of it, and you did all right with that part. You figured it out pretty good, and then I wanted to move you into the kickboxing part of it, and when we wanted to talk about getting you into the kickboxing part of it, you kind of freaked out. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like right before we went to Florida, and we started training for kickboxing, and you were moving out of boxing into kickboxing, and you didn't like to use your legs.
It's hard. It's a different transition.
Yeah.
I think you're getting so used to throwing hands with someone, and they're like, "Oh, here, throw a kick."
Yeah.
Your brain goes, "No."
Yeah. What about like when we went to Florida in like 2009?
Oh, that was an experience. That was amazing. It was. We showed up to a Marriott. I remember we pulled in, and before that, we got off the plane. But Florida sucks in July, by the way, because I remember getting off the plane and stepping out of the terminal. It was just a massive wall of humidity. I remember that part very vividly. Just
Yeah.
Couldn't breathe.
Yeah, it was really strong, like at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Insane. Yeah, that was insane.
Yep.
But I remember getting to the hotel. We woke up the next morning because we had to go do weigh-ins. We had to do the physicals. We had to meet all the referees, do the coaches meeting. It was insane. But we walk into this ballroom, and there's easily 1,000 fighters, not even trainers, just fighters, all just looped around this massive ballroom, all doing the exact same thing. We're all getting weighed in. We're all making sure we're at weight. For now, there's a sauna room. They gave us sauna suits to go jump in a sauna room with a jump rope. There's people losing weights. I got lucky though, because I remember it was me and some other kid. We were the only 2 people in the weight class. So it was a 3-day tournament.
Yeah, they had 3 rings going on at one time.
3 rings, 3
They
different
were
bells.
like in the rules meeting, they were saying that when you hear the bell ring, not to stop fighting unless the referee stopped you, because it could not be your bell,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's pretty crazy to
That was
have
insane.
that happen.
That was insane.
Yeah.
When we what was it, Friday or Saturday when the first fight was?
Yeah.
Remember we walked in there and
Friday.
It was Friday. Walk in and there's the 3 rings, and I think it was the first ring. There were 2 kids, one kid from New York, and I don't remember the other kid, but I remember they're like 8 years old, throwing down. The 8-year-old knocked him out with a leg kick. It's clean.
Yeah, well, those kids are from Russia. They were
insane. It
really good
was
camp out of I forget where they were from, but they had a really good camp. But you got to have a lot of fun. You got to travel a lot. We went to New Mexico and we went to Las Vegas. But how was your trips to like New Mexico? When you were younger with Mr. Williams and stuff.
in a little car.
Yeah,
That was a joy. Remember, we all sat fine going down there, coming back sucked because my legs were all hurt, like spread across the middle of the damn car in between all the seats.
yeah.
It was hysterical.
Do you
But that was a
remember
lot of fun.
fighting twice in one night?
No, what?
You remember like you would like you would box and then
Oh, then
kickbox.
kickbox. Yeah.
That's what
Yes.
I mean.
Yes. I do remember all that.
They don't allow that no more.
No.
But
To
yeah,
get in a lot of trouble for that.
this was in the old day where that was at the end. But we used to have a lot of fun out there, in those towns. And when you go to Vegas, Vegas was a lot of fun. How was your experience in Vegas?
Vegas was amazing. And it wasn't just because, fighting in Vegas. It was because all our family lives in Vegas. So we would have literally our entire family, and all I can hear while in the ring is, "Peace, Jesse, go!" hyping me up, and it's just overpowering, and it was fun. I miss that. That was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah, it was cool times. When we
Just
used to
throwing
go out there.
hands, and you just hear your name just in the background. It's exhilarating, if
Right.
you will.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's a
definitely
lot of
fun.
fun, for you guys. But through those times, you know, to get to that level, to get there, how was it when you were preparing yourself for those kind of
I
times?
remember in high school. It was, I want to say, my senior year, and I had 3 hours off at the end of the school because it was ahead of my credits and everything. But I would have 3 hours of weights, and for some fights, I would have to lose. I would have to cut just a bunch of weight, and uh, Coach Young was the teacher at the time, and I tell him, "Hey, I need to cut weight. I'm just gonna go run for 3 hours." He's like, "All right, go. Nobody disturb you." So I'll go run for 3 hours, and then go home, shower, eat peanut butter and jelly because I couldn't eat a whole lot, and we go to the gym for 4 hours. We just go work, non-stop. Remember, there would be times where like we'd be doing that in 2, 3, or an hour into training. I feel my body just wanting to shut off. Done. No more. And you're like, no, let's go. We got to get this going. You want to win? You want to be the best? You want to be the number one? Keep going. Get back up and just
Yeah.
cruise and ugh.
Or some of the fights you remember, when you were younger that had fun in. What were some of your most exciting fights that you had?
My first title fight. My first Arizona state title fight. It was a vacant title, and it was at Players. Is my most memorable. Um, it was I can't remember the kid's name, but I remember I threw it was the first or second round, and I threw a Superman punch, nailed him square in the nose, and it was just immediate blood. And came back up, threw a push kick, got him, threw a back spinning fist, and landed it and just buckled him. Just done.
Yeah.
He got a standing 8 count, and the judge was like, no, there's blood, just messed him up.
Yeah,
But they disqualified me for that fight though.
yeah, it was kind of messed up. They went off
Stupid.
some like people's cameras and they were saying
They said
that
I hit him with his forearm.
you hit him with the forearm. They didn't want to do that. Yeah, so you pretty got whatever it is, what it is. But that was a really cool fight. The crowd went crazy. You did train really hard for that fight.
I remember weighing in for that fight because his group, his school wasn't there when I had weighed in, and I had weighed in, so we went grubbed, and they had called Coach Williams and be like, "Hey, we want him to reweigh." I throw trash bags on. I had to lose 12 pounds in a matter of
Yeah,
8 hours or
that's
something
crazy.
like that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, it was insane. Did it though?
Some cool. Yeah,
Did it?
But like I said, some of the fights were fun. What was your hardest fight? What do you think your hardest fight was?
Boxing. When I was still boxing, there was a school in Vegas. Um, don't remember
Barry's
the
boxing.
yeah. I remember I rematched this kid like 2 or 3 times, but every time we would fight, it would just be a brawl. And just the way he would be able to snap his punches. I remember second round I came in, I threw a 1-2, and he threw just a straight right quick and just got me. Every time he would hit me, it would just be like just a straight hit, hard ass hit every single time. And I remember that fight very, very vividly, and that was probably my hardest fight that I've remember.
All right.
Besides the fight I fought when I had a fever.
Yeah.
That was insane. That was intense.
Where was it at?
That was in Phoenix, I believe.
Yeah. It was at a school.
It was because we were in the gymnasium. That's right. And
you fought
this was towards
Dante Riggs.
This was towards more the ending of my career. Yep. And I had a fever that night.
Title fight.
Went in. I did it though.
Yeah, you went.
I did it. Went all 5 rounds with a fever.
Yeah, you lost the judge decision. I think he went pro right after he fought you.
I think he went one fight and then went pro.
Yeah, something like that. But really, really cool for him, But yeah, I remember you had a really high fever, and
I slept that entire time.
Yeah, you slept all the way till this time for the fight. We kept you in the back room, and we didn't want to stop the fight because they needed that fight for the promotion. Plus, at the same time, you never really turned down a fight and stuff.
Right.
So it was kind of, crazy that
it was rough
that you did fight like that. Most people wouldn't have been able to go the distance.
No.
And he was big, huh?
Big.
He was a big guy.
But I threw hands though.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
Threw hands.
And so yeah, that was a really cool fight for you. What about when we fought outside towards the end of your career? We fought at the swap meet, and then you fought a kid out of Hawaii.
Oh,
how was that?
Those kicks. He kicked me. Never fought anybody of that statue, right? I mean, I have, but it wasn't like I didn't. He had a lot more skill, I would say, in kickboxing, and we had the exact same fights. And I remember we were throwing hands, we're kicking and stuff, and apparently he wasn't kicking all his might because I remember I threw a right or a left it was, and he just threw all his power into this kick, and I felt my whole leg go tingle, immediate tingles, like oh shit, okay, let's go. I remember I checked the kick and there was a bump on my shin. It's like that far off, thick ass bump on my shin. That was a lot of fun though. I remember after that fight, I went up to him and I asked him, I was like, hey, how the hell are you turning how's your turning off that kick? And we sat there for 20, 30 minutes just talking.
That's all that happened though in that fight? Because I think a lot more happened.
That's all I remember off that fight.
Really?
It was
I
just
can tell
that.
You right now.
That's all I remember.
You today, I think.
Oh, he cracked my rib.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We were in a clinch.
How was that?
And he was throwing knees, and he threw a solid knee to my rib right here. And all I heard was oh shit! It fell straight to the ground.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still have issues with it every now and then. Not often, but
yeah.
Every now and again, I'm like rolling my back out on a roller, and I could feel it just pop. I'm like, oh shit! I gotta get up. Hold on.
Right.
Let me breathe. But yeah, no, that was that fight.
Yeah. We went to the restaurant after to go eat.
I couldn't breathe. I was trying to eat, couldn't breathe. Just
you're having contractions.
Stupid. I remember that.
Yeah, you're having contractions.
Oh, that sucked.
It was crazy. Yeah, that was a tough one for you. We had to drive all the way back home to Cottonwood.
Couldn't breathe. I was trying to get comfortable in the back of the seat, just trying to.
We're driving home at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, dumb.
How was some of these rides that were for you? Like, we would travel, and you would have these fights, and then you would have all this damage done to the body, and then we would take like 3 or 4 fighters in a car, and you guys would all have to ride back together. How was that? That's
like that Las Cruces fight. We did the same thing. We drive 7 hours to Las Cruces, and then
9 hours.
Stupid. 9 hours, be all good and chilling on the way there, go fight and be just messed up coming back, and you're all trying to get comfortable, and every movement just in pain, pure pain,
Yeah.
spread out across all the seats. Whoever has the worst pain is gets the most room.
Yeah, those are the good old days. Those are like how the old cowboys used to do in the rodeo days, where they would just jump in cars
And
and they
just
would go
go.
ride, and they would all be jacked up after and stuff like
do
that. You
you
know, riding the bulls and stuff.
do you remember Santiago when we went to Florida?
Yeah,
How messed up his legs were. He was all wobbling like
yeah.
a
Poor
penguin
kid was messed
everywhere.
up for a
Yeah,
long
that
time.
sucked.
Yeah, yeah. He fought a firecracker out there. You know, that's just. How about talk about kicks? How about when you fought that kid out of Phoenix? And I want to say you were probably like 16, about to be 17, and he was 19. And he was really short, but he was really big and stocky. He had big, giant legs. You were really nervous. You didn't want to fight him. You were kind of like telling me, look at him, look what he looks like at the weigh-ins. And I was like, I don't care. We have trained too hard. We work too hard for what we do. And I knew that you would put up a pretty good fight with him. And you ended up fighting him. And do you remember what happened in that fight?
No.
Okay, so you ended up kicking him and kicking him and chopping him down and chopping this tree down and chopping. He ended up sitting down in the middle of the ring, and he couldn't take it no more, and they had to stop the fight. And you ended up picking him up and brought him back to his corner, so that way
He didn't have to walk on his
he didn't have
legs.
to walk on his legs. You remember that?
I
You remember
do.
that stuff? Yeah, that was a long time ago. I want to say that might have been Chris Mack's fighter. You know, the late Chris Mack.
That I do remember that.
Yeah, yeah, that was a long time ago.
I think that's when we first met Chris Mack.
Yeah, that was like in the Camp Verde event that we did a long time ago. But yeah, man, you know, so it was really cool for you because I used to train you really hard, and I used to get all the guys from the town that played on my softball team to come spar you. Remember that? How was that when you sparred all the guys on the softball team?
Different. It definitely puts a different perspective of like people who know what they're doing and the people who don't, because you can get hurt with people who don't know what you're doing
Right.
very easily, like very very
Yeah. So
easily.
how was it sparring with guys that didn't know what
So
they were
I
doing?
remember Josh, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came tall, 6'2". Came in and just started swinging. I didn't know what to do, so I just threw backspin fist, just as quick as I could, up as high as I could. Smack, got him. But he hit me so fucking hard though.
Yeah, you think you knocked him out and had to like hold him up. Yeah.
Buckled his
Yeah,
ass.
you knocked him out. You know, a lot of the other guys we would bring from town and stuff like that, you would, you know, put a whooping on. Do you remember any of the guys back then that you would train with that used to really go hard against like that?
No, I know I sparred Anthony there for a while because he used to come in a lot, and then it would be
Art.
Art, Theo. Yep.
How was it sparring with Art?
It was fun because there for a while it was he was didn't know what he was doing, so he would just be throwing and wouldn't catch anything, but it would hurt after a while, getting hit in the back of the head and just all kinds of stupidness. But once he started getting it down, it was when it became fun and like a learning experience, because then I was able to like he throw some and I'd be able to counter react and connect and actually make my style better with him.
All right.
Especially sparring with him, because he put the most effort into learning and training with me to make me better.
All right. Yeah.
It wasn't for him to like, oh, I gotta beat up this kid. Maybe it was for the first 2 times, but I think after a while it got fun for both of us.
Yeah,
for sure.
When we used to go to the fights and stuff and travel around, and I remember we'd be in different towns and they would have like little seminars or little stuff, and I would take you to be in all those things and all those little different trainers around the country that we would go to, and it was pretty cool for you because when you were younger, you guys would kind of trip out on it, but as you get older, you guys learned a lot of different techniques.
Definitely a respect thing across fighting. Like we go weigh in and it'd be all no talk, shush. Like this is your fighter. As soon as that fight's over, it's a big old hug. We're all talking. We're all, trading numbers, or at least you were. Like, hey, you come down here. We'll come down here. We'll spar with you guys. And
Right.
met a lot of amazing, amazing people. Amazing people.
Yeah, it was fun. And now that you're older, you graduated high school and now you're a dad. You got 3 kids. You got daughter about to be 7, 2 boys that are 4 years
4.
old, and all that stuff we talked about. Now, how is it now? How does it apply to your life
I
now as a
wouldn't
dad?
be I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for fighting. By far, I guarantee it. I don't think I would have, the discipline to be patient, or the discipline to understand certain things and certain aspects of life that happens as you're an adult when you have kids. And I think, or I know from fighting and from everything that we've been through, it's definitely made me a better man now, by far.
All right.
And there is without a doubt that I would be the same if it wasn't for what we did.
All right.
It changed everything.
All right.
I'm not. My confidence is high as it could ever be. My respect level is amazing. I definitely wouldn't have the jobs that I've had if it wasn't for the respect that I've accumulated between you and fighting.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need to really understand that. And it's not just fighting. It's multiple sports that teach the discipline. But I think if you want to learn real discipline, you get into this sport. You get into this type of world, because you can't just take a day off. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm tired. I'm relax today. No. There's someone out there training just as hard as you are, if not harder. There's someone always bigger, better, and badder than you every day.
Yeah.
If you think you're the baddest, I promise you there is someone out there in the world that will get you.
Right.
Rare few. There's a rare few, but it's not. I think people overlook it for sure.
Right. Yeah. No. You've done really good. Me and Mom are proud of you. Proud of the man you become. And you see you did good with your family and your kids. You see that you're focused with your work and your relationship with your marriage and stuff like that. So, we could definitely tell that this stuff programs definitely paid off for you in the martial arts. It's part of it now that you're a dad and you understand. Um, that you're gonna raise your young man and your daughter a different way. You know, um, knowing what you've been through as a young man.
It's definitely like looking back at it now, it's eye opening. I live my life every day how I feel it's supposed to be. Never really thinking about the past of how I got to where I'm at, except for this conversation.
All right.
And it's definitely eye opening for sure. Because if it wasn't for that day, if they had not put me in that classroom with Mom, if you hadn't had got a hold of Richard and put me in that club, where would I have been? Would I have dropped out of school? Period. Would I have been in jail? Would I have been on the drugs? Would I have been running around like I see all these everybody that I've grown up with? Not everybody, but they're
Right.
the same people that my age. They're running amok, just not giving two cares of their world.
Right.
And that's a scary thought.
Right. Yeah. No, for real.
And having, you know, the father figure that I have, you, and fighting, it's made a difference.
Right. Yeah. No, it's cool. You can really see it in you. You know, you can tell with how you carry, like I said, the way you carry yourself and stuff like that. Um, it's gonna be good for you because you got two twin boys, and man, how do you think that's gonna work out for you?
They're gonna be monsters.
Yeah.
They're gonna be monsters
Yeah.
because right now they always try to one up each other. You can see it. They're
Yeah.
4 years old, but you can see that they're constantly trying to like
Yeah.
do better than the other, you
That's
know?
good. Yeah, I like it.
And so I think once they get into the sport, it's on.
They got
Oh, it's going to
competitiveness.
be a competitiveness. It's
Yeah.
Do you remember those twins that used to train with us? They're Navy SEALs now.
Yeah.
But they were the same way.
Yeah.
They were always one-upping each other.
Yeah.
They'd be hitting the exact same bag, and one of them would throw some crazy combination. He's like, "Oh, okay,
All right.
let me show you this," and
Right.
always one-upping each other.
Yeah.
But look at their when they were fighting, their competition level was just maddening.
All right. Yeah.
Maddening.
Yeah. No, it's good. You know, and like I said, I'm excited. We got Sofina coming up. You know, she's getting ready for her fighting career. She's about to be 7. She starts competing when she's 8. Been working with her since she was born. You know, taught her how to walk at 9 months, and she climbs ropes and
Her upper
poles
body
and
is
trees, and
her strength is insane.
yeah, I'm excited to see what she's gonna do with this sport. You know, yeah, it's a lot of fun. But anyway, hey, I'm proud of you, man. I just want to bring you on, talk with you. You know, see what's up with you, explain about what you've been through and stuff like that. And but thanks for coming out tonight and
Yeah, thank you for
being a
having me.
part of this. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, love you, buddy.
I love you, Papa.